All right, today we are diving deep, thousands of meters below the surface, to meet one of the planet's newest and honestly most bizarre discoveries. We're talking about a sponge that doesn't just sit there, it hunts. People call the deep ocean the planet's final frontier, and they're not wrong. It's this high-pressure, totally lightless world we know less about than the surface of the fricking moon. Every now and then, though, a mission gives us a little peek into the life that thrives in that darkness. And what they find, it can totally rewrite the biology books. And that brings us to the hero of this story, the RV Investigator. It's a cutting-edge research ship from Australia's science agency, CSIRO. This ship set off on a pretty ambitious quest to sail into the unknown and literally map a part of our world that no human had ever laid eyes on before. So, where were they headed? The super remote waters of Australia's Indian Ocean territories. We're talking about the marine parks around the Cocos and Christmas Islands. Now, the main goal was to make the very first detailed maps of the seafloor there. But while they were scanning this uncharted abyss, they found something else, something they were definitely not expecting.
Yeah, that something wasn't just one discovery, it was this many. 30. Can you believe that? On a single trip in a pretty small patch of the deep sea, scientists found what they think are 30 new species, creatures completely unknown to science until right now.
And the haul was just incredible. They found these delicate thread-like corals, these bizarre stalked sea tulips, even predatory sea stars. But out of this whole treasure trove of new life, there was one animal that really stood out. A predator that just shatters all the rules for what its kind is supposed to be. And here it is, the star of the show. The scientists gave it the perfect nickname, the death ball sponge. And trust me, it more than lives up to the name. Listen to how the research team put it. Their quote says it all. It's like a fuzzy golf ball-sized ball of death. So yeah, you can forget any picture you have in your head of a soft, squishy bath sponge. This thing is something else entirely. Okay, so to really get how mind-blowing this is, you have to understand how a normal sponge eats. Your typical sponge is just a passive filter feeder, right? It just sits there, pulling in water and straining out tiny little bits of food. It's basically a living water filter. But this carnivorous sponge? Nope. It's an ambush predator. It actively traps and eats whole creatures, like small crustaceans. That's kind of like finding a plant that hunts like a wolf. It's a total game changer. So the big question is, how does a creature with no brain, no nerves, and no muscles pull off being such a good hunter? Well, the secret is all in its anatomy. Its entire body is covered in these incredible structures called spicules. You can think of them as a coat made of microscopic, super sharp hooks. And get this, they're made of silica, which is basically glass. So that fuzzy ball we mentioned, it's actually covered in a lethal velcro-like web of tiny glass hooks. And this is how the hunt plays out. First, some poor, unsuspecting little crustacean just drifts by, brushes up against the sponge, and it's instantly trapped by thousands of those spicules. There's just no way out. Then, the sponge's own cells begin to slowly crawl over and completely envelop the prey. Finally, once the meal is all wrapped up, the sponge releases digestive enzymes and just absorbs the nutrients from the outside. It's slow, it's patient, and it is brutally effective. Okay, so finding a meat-eating sponge is obviously incredible. But what's the bigger picture here? Why does finding 30 new species in the middle of nowhere actually matter? Well, it matters because a discovery like this is such a powerful reminder that the deep sea is one of the last truly wild, unexplored frontiers on our own planet. These ecosystems have been evolving in total isolation for millions of years, and that's led to life forms and survival strategies we couldn't even dream of. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. The RV Investigator, they just surveyed a tiny, tiny fraction of the world's seafloor. So if one mission in one little spot can turn up a treasure trove like this, what else is down there? What other secrets, what other life, what other evolutionary wonders are just waiting in the dark?